Now, after looking at the functions of a literature review, let us now look at how to do a review of literature. So, there are four steps to actually find a literature that's good for us and actually find some of the topics that is in that article or is in that book or journal that we can use. So till that point we have got four steps, and after that fourth step, the only step that we are left with is actually writing. So the first step that I'm going to tell you is to do a literature review just till the extent of the framing of the points or framework of the whole literature that you're reviewing. It's not actually writing, so please remember that one. Not actually writing, but just coming up with literature that can be useful for us to now actually write. So the four steps are searching the existing literature in the study area. So it's like where to find the literatures that are required for our study. It's just finding literature, nothing more, just searching. Second one is, now after we search that one, we are now going to select the one that's being very relevant to our study, and then reviewing that selected literature out of many searched literature in step number one. Third one is that after we picked one literature, let's say one literature, we have to read around 10, but let's say the first one literature we selected, and from that first one literature there are lots of topics that you can find even in one literature. So we need to basically take up some of the topics, or we have to make some kind of skeletal framework, that's called theoretical framework. Nothing to write here again, just to write some theoretical framework based on themes and issues. So issue number one is that one, issue number two is that one, or theme number one is that one, theme two, theme three, theme four. Just list some of the themes that literature has. So last one is developing a conceptual framework. So for example, again let's get back to lichen diversity and distribution in Wangdipuram district. So you need a specific literature on diversity of lichens. How many diversity of lichens are there in the world? What are the distribution pattern that you can find in different forest types, in different altitudinal gradients? So but reading literature, selected literature on diversity of lichens in that area, or like for example diversity of lichens in India, let's say, and you just found that there are lots of topics being discovered, lots of topics are being discussed in the selected literature, and from there you're going to choose all the topics and just list down, and from there you're going to just choose 1 to 2 topics that is very, very important for your study. For let's say for example it has got topics like 10 to 11 topics, but only 1 to 2 topics is relevant for you because it talks about lichens diversity and distribution in Himalayan region. That's important for you because Wangdipuram is in Himalayan region. So you're just going to choose that one. Choosing that one, that particular one is known as conceptual framework, and choosing that particular one from all other literatures is known as what is being called as conceptual framework. So choosing literature, searching lots of literature, and choosing one specific literature from all the literatures, from that specific literature drawing like 10 to 11 themes or issues, listing down, and from 10 to 11 different issues or themes, choosing only 1 to 2 themes that's specifically related to you. That's the whole framework of looking at the material right now. We're not even looking at the writer part. Let us look at these 4 steps one by one. The first one is searching for existing literature. So we're going to search for existing literature, for example on lichens. So wherever possible we are going to look at, and there are 3 possible areas where we can find lichens. One is in books, already pre-established books, already published books in libraries especially. Then we have in journals. Then we have in the internet. So let's look one by one. We have got books, we have got journal, then we have got internet. So 3 things to look for the existing literature, just for looking at the existing literature. Let us look at book to search for the existing literature. The paradox. Paradox means anything that has two sides, two characteristics. So opposite characteristics. Books have opposite characteristics. Advantage of book is that it's integrated. It has lots of concepts from all the different literatures brought together, arranged as chapter. So basically, whatever people have seen, it has made in a comprehensive book, in a comprehensive books manner, and that's an advantage of a book, that it can give many kind of information in just one book. The disadvantage, however, is for you or for us to publish any book, it takes nearly around like 5 to 10 years. So writing book is not an easy way. We need to really review literatures. We need to really compile. We need to really, design the book. We need to then send it for review to experts. Then again send back the second draft to the experts. And at last we need to print again. Then printing takes lots of time. And the publication itself takes around like 5 to 10 years, which is quite long. But some books may take quicker than or sooner than 5 to 10 years. But even if it is taking, it may at the max or at minimum take around 3 to 4 years. So that itself is something that leads to outdated knowledge. Like 3 to 4 years outdated knowledge is slightly an outdated knowledge. So that's another side of the paradox. But however, let's not deal with the paradox now. We saw that there are advantages that books have. How to find and where to find. So visit any library that any library that has books relevant to your city area. Then you can physically check the library, and if you can get the books physically by going to those cupboards or those sections to find on. Let's even get back to lichens and find on lichens. You can get the materials of lichens, read that. That's it on books. But even if you cannot find directly the sections on lichens, go to the computer that is being set up near or in the library. That's for looking at the catalog, and in the catalog type the specific keywords that we have to search for our study. So for example, lichen diversity and distribution can be lichens. Type lichen and it will just show where the books related to lichens are. Type lichen diversity, it will show there. Lichen distribution, it will show there. Lichen in Himalayan region, it will show there. So using specific subject catalog or keywords is very important. Then after you find those books, what you can do is you can if the book that you have found is not for borrowing purpose, it's just for referencing purpose in the library, you can immediately copy or you can immediately print that or photocopy that, but do not tear that paper, because that must be very important for futures reference. So do not tear that. Back in our college days, some of our friends used to go to library reference section where they are not allowed to borrow, but they are just allowed to refer inside the library itself. They used to tear. That's a bad example. Please do not tear. Just borrow if you can borrow, and if you cannot borrow, take notes and print. And be aware that even if you feel that some books are looking at plant or like floral diversity in Wang Di Phorong area or floral diversity in Bhutan, that also must be having some part on lichens. So do not judge that book is not having that specific name that we do not require. But again, that book must be containing some portions of lichens. So do not just book by cover. You just explore that book. Yep. So basically, now you have got the book. So how to go about to find the specific literature in that book? So choose around 10 to 15 books after going to the catalog or after physically looking at the book's title and all. Choose around 10 to 15 books, then look at the bibliography of all the books and compare the bibliographies or compare the references of all the books to see the common books that we have. So the most common book that we have, again try to choose those common books and add to your list of references. Again, those common books between common books between two books or the 10 to 15 books that you have just chosen in the first stage number 1, must be again having a very good content on the specific topic that you're looking for. Then that common book, if it is in library, then again go to the library and search that common book. If you have missed that, and if you feel that it's not in that library, then other sources like electronic sources, search the internet, it will give you the books that you want. So search other libraries that you need. Sometimes if you want to buy books, you can buy books online, or you can buy books in nearby local bookstore. And at last, it's very important that whatever book that now you have, you feel that it's important for you to now do literature review from here henceforth. You need to now write the references and keep track of this one. This can be done in referencing can be done in EndNote and MS Word, or you can directly write it manually through hands, or you can directly type manually on a computer. So EndNote is very important referencing tool. If I get time, I'll teach you how to use EndNote, but definitely if I do not get time to do the video online videos for you, I'll definitely take 1 to 2 hours from your normal classes when we get back to our normal session, and we'll learn how to use EndNote. Very interesting as well as very important referencing software at times when we really need to do referencing not only very easily but very in a very high pace or very fast. So that's very important. Manual can be done by directly typing, looking at the APA styles, looking at the referencing styles. And MS Word again provides you a guide to how to do referencing. For example, AP6 annotation is one of the key feature of MS Word. You can reuse that one. So this is how to search through books. So choose 10 to 15 books, go to library, go to bibliography, compare the references of bibliography of these common books. Then again try to find more common books in the library itself or from other sources, and try to note down their references which may be useful in future. Second one is by looking at journal. Journal is again perfect place where you can find for your existing literature on your topic. Again, it has paradox, meaning it has got two opposite sides. Advantage is that journals have most updated information. Journals are basically the collections of articles, and it has got most updated information in that articles. So you can find updated information in that article. Again, publication of journals, again, some of the journals may take 1 to 2 years to get published. Some of the big projects may take like 3 to 4 years. Again, the report that comes after that project may again take 1 to 2 years, and publication may again take like 6 to 7 months. So around 5 years gap. Some publications go around 5 years gap, similar to like books, but most of the journals, they get published in 1 year or 1 to 2 years. Again, 1 to 2 years is if you look at the perspective of science. If you really want to look at the up-to-date information, then again that is a disadvantage of the journal. It's not like you write your article yesterday and you just publish today. It's impossible. A journal receives an article, and that article has to be given to several reviews, and that reviewer has to be exchanged for like 3 to 4 times. It takes like 7 to 8 months to get back to the publication mode. Again, how to look at journals. So uh, look at the hard copies of the journals. So most of the libraries will have the hard copies of the journals uh, printed out, the printed version of the journals kept in the library. Look at those ones. Some of the journals will have just the citations and abstracts of the articles that are published in their journal. So again, that can be again in the form of booklet. So try to again get those booklets and try to read those booklets to get some information about your study area. And lastly, we can also search the electronic database to search for journals. So electronic database is mainly looking at the internet, which we'll be discussing in the next. So thinking like how to get an appropriate journal list to go further with the literature review is it seems like books. Prepare a list of journals and articles. You'll have lots of lists of journal articles downloaded or like kept in hard copy. From those ones, choose only those articles which are very relevant. The step number one is itself a very relevant task for your study area. Meaning, for example, if I'm doing on lichens, I've chosen only books which are related to lichens. But number two entails that those like 12 to 13 journals which are only talking about lichens may not be exactly looking at the lichens distribution in forest, lichens distribution in Himalayan region. They must be again looking at they must be again looking at some agriculture perspective of lichens, some economical perspective of lichens. So just choose those articles from the journals which are quite relevant, which really talks about Hindu Kush Himalayan region and the lichen distribution, which really talks about lichens in forest, lichens in altitudinal gradients. So just choose on those ones. And next one is that you now save those articles, and if possible, if you can summarize those ones, you can summarize and again record the references of these articles that you have just chosen. And sometimes you cannot get journals from library, journals from the internet very easily, but your friends or your other colleagues or your supervisors may have these journals. So always ask the journal articles from your friends. They may be giving you journals. So again, at last, compiling the whole set of journals that's being searched by yourself through library and electronic database, through your colleagues, PAs, and your supervisor. Those collections of articles, now you need to have the references either in EndNote or MS Word or typed manually. So main thing is that keep whole set books or journals ready. At last, keep the references ready. And yes, check this out. Check this few things out. Indices of journals are the platform, or you can say the platform where it has got lots of journals. So check that. Type just indices of journals in website, and you will see that lots of other journals are there. Abstracts of articles. So abstracts of articles can be also got freely through internet. Most of the open source or paid version of journals, they do not let whole article to be downloaded or to be read. Just abstracts are being shown. So those abstracts are perfect for you to get the essence of what that article really wants to convey. And at last, citation indices are again another way to look at the journals. So one of the best examples of indices of journals is that journals which are having indexing, meaning only those journals having indexing can be viewed in Google or Google Scholar. mainly Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is one of the indices of journals that is in it. So Google Scholar is also one of the indices of journal. The main point is this one. The last one is internet. It seems like searching books and journals for your existing literature. Searching the internet is very easy, and immense speed and ease is being given by internet. So you can search books that you were searching physically in library through internet. You can search journals that you are searching through library and your peers and supervisors through the internet, and lots of other web pages and online information can be searched through internet. And mostly Google and Yahoo are being used for surfing. You can either use keywords to search individually, or you can use a combination of keywords. So searching keywords individually can be, again, let's get back to lichen distribution and diversity. I can search lichens single, I can search diversity single, or I can also search as lichen diversity, or like lichens Wangdi, lichen Wangdi Forum, lichens and Wangdi Forum, lichens diversity and distribution, the combination of words. And though these online serving online serving platforms like Google and Yahoo, they get what you're exactly searching. For example, lichens in Wangdi Forum, meaning they understand that you want to get lichens in Wangdi Forum, but sometimes it's quite ethical as well as it's quite logical for you to use Boolean operators like and or not. Boolean operators are operators which connects two words, which joins two words together to make it as one, and to make the online servers to read it as one. And to we also have used Boolean operators in ArcGIS. So again, let's get back to here. We have three Boolean operators, and, or, and not. So use and when you want to include both the words. So lichen and distribution means you want to look at all the articles that has both lichens as well as distribution together. When you're using words like or, you want to either you want the servers to either display results that has lichens or that has a distribution, lichens or distribution. So it's not mandatory for you to show results only those results which has lichens and distribution, but it can also show those results having both lichens and distribution. It can show those lists which has only articles and distribution on articles and lichens. It can also show articles both sides, but and is quite rigid, where and can show only both. Not is when you want to avoid one word. For example, you want to avoid you do not want to do lichen diversity distribution in agriculture area. We want to do in forest. So lichen distribution or lichen diversity, not agriculture, meaning you want to find only lichen diversity papers, but you do not want to get these in the study carried out in agriculture area. So not agriculture means it will omit out not. So this is how you do the first step, searching for the existing literature. You just want to search those literature which are important for you.